13 Pictures Most Unexplainable Photographs. Do ghosts exist? Since our earliest beginnings, the possibility of the paranormal has always enticed humankind. Our collective obsession with the idea of life after death can be found in our literature and philosophy, music and movies, but most notably in the photographs we take. Naturally, since the rise of the internet, people have flocked online to share their paranormal pictures. Here are 13 of the most unexplainable pictures ever shared online and the spine-chilling stories that go with them. Man in the Woods. A friend of a friend was going through his photos from last year's hunting season and found this pic. He says the trail cam is activated by movement, yet there were no pics of the entity except in this photo. If it were a person, there would have been several photos where the person entered the camera's visual field, yet only this photo was taken. The area in which this photo was taken is on private hunting property miles away from any residential areas in northern Michigan. Also at the end of October, it is usually quite cold and pitch is black out where this photo was taken. The girl with no face. I do not speak English. I use Google Translate. I live in Hungary and speak the Hungarian language. The photograph was taken in 1943 in Hungary, in Kaposfjord. My mother is in the foreground of the photo taken by my father. A little girl stands in the background but does not know anything, just to show that there are no arms, no face, it's like a ghost or a demon. The stealth cam sighting. My friend had his stealth cam set up on a deer trail on his property in NC. This girl popped up in one of the frames. Also, there is what appears to be a man standing in the top right. The extra hand. I am the kid with braces in the picture, and I can honestly say that is not my hand. My parents' house is crazily haunted, aboard the Queen Mary. My coworker's daughter caught this on the Queen Mary. They were taken on the same day, several moments apart, on a regular camera, just at different angles. No one was over on the other side. This made me a believer. The Creeping Child. This is a photo of my father that was taken by his girlfriend in Colorado, Rocky Mountains. This photo was taken on an iPhone but zoomed in, hence the poor quality. There was no one around at the time. My dad said he had just come from that area and no one was there. His girlfriend also saw nothing behind him when taking the photo. She didn't realize the figure was in the photo until they returned home, the old abandoned school. I grew up in a small, rural town in between mountains. A couple of years ago, they were tearing down an old elementary school. A guy my mom knew went in and took pics with his cell phone. When he uploaded them, this was one of the pictures. I don't believe in stuff like this at all. I just really don't know how to explain it since it was a cell phone pic and I'm pretty sure that no one in my podunk hometown knows how to make fake pics. The Intruder. An image caught in my former apartment on the upper floors of a centennial house on a cheap digital camera using a timer shot on my PC, while I was at work in 2006. I was living alone at the time, in a second-floor apartment, and this is not my landlord. Nothing was stolen, nothing disturbed, and all doors and windows were locked and intact. The thing that really creeps me out about this picture, aside from the image, is that it's the only one of a time-lapse that was set to take a photo once every minute. The camera was somewhat hidden, it didn't have a shutter sound, and yet the figure appears to be looking directly at the computer desk, where the camera was hidden, at the very moment it was taken. The old jail. This was taken in an old jail in St. Augustine, Florida. I set my camera to burst mode, and what looks like half a face popped up in the bottom right corner of only one picture. The Floating Orb. I took this picture about 6 years ago in a power plant in Texas. We were doing electrical testing on night shift. It started as an orb floating around and turned into this. The stain. I pulled up some carpet at the apartment where I grew up in Queens, NY because I knew there was a perfectly good wood floor under it. After putting the room back together, I noticed a dark stain that kind of looked like a body. It was almost like a body was left there for a long time and stained the floor, so I snapped this pic. Sorry for the quality, it was taken in 2008 on a BlackBerry Bold. The white object is what is strange or unexplained about the pic, not the stain. The basement. My friend forwarded this image to me, saying his friend was working in his basement crawlspace. Who's that? This creepy face in between my great-grandparents' heads.